Hello, everybody, and welcome to Straight Shooters. Thank you guys for tuning in another week. And I know it's different. It looks different today. It looks different this week, but it's all right. I have a special guest with me filling in for my co-host, Miss Chanel Starling. My girl, Renee Washington, ESPN Fox Sports reporter. Sis really came through in the clutch for me today, y'all. What's up, Renee? How are you?
I'm great, and I'm curious now. As you were introducing that, are we talking like shooters? Or are we talking like shooters?
Straight shooters. Like from the hip. There's no cut cards on this show.
Okay.
It is what it is. You say what you say, mean what you say. We're not sugarcoating nothing. Shot.
I get that.
That's what it is. Yes. So thank you.
I'm happy to be here.
Yes, thank you for coming in. This is like my sis, y'all. Like this is like my sister.
I'm no Chanel, but I'll do my best.
Yeah.
So.
Both of you guys are amazing, and Chanel will be back next week, folks. So me and Renee are about to get it in, and oh my gosh, it's been. Look, I think I say this every week. Me and Chanel say this every time we record. It's been so much going on. It is. It's a lot. I'm so happy. I cannot believe that this time last year, we really didn't have anything to talk about sports-wise. I think we was probably still riding the Last Dance wave by this time. I think Last Dance was actually.
Yeah, we were.
Yeah. I think that went on for 6 weeks, 10 episodes, 6 weeks. So we were still like, that was our only source of like, and fast forward 365, and we have tons to talk about. Like, yeah, I'm super excited. So let's get into it. I don't want to waste a whole lot of time. We ain't wasting a whole lot of time. Let's get into it. So I have to start here in the nation's capital, NBA, Mr. Russell Recordbrook. I heard somebody say that earlier. And I heard somebody.
Okay.
I saw somebody.
Okay.
And I said, I like that. That's cute. Mr. Russell Recordbrook, notching 182 triple doubles, moves ahead of Oscar Robertson. He was at 181. Man, Russ Westbrook, the point guard for the Washington Wizards here in my city. So excited. You already know how I feel about the Wizards. You love to hate them. I have a love-hate relationship with the Wizards. But I am, I will say this. I certainly knew, I think we all know when you pay attention, the type of player that Russell Westbrook is. And I knew what an addition he would be to the Wizards team. He never takes a night off. I call him the Energizer Bunny. The man is like an Energizer Bunny, in my opinion. I mean, he's so fast, so energetic all the time. You never question his effort. You never question if he's leaving it all out on the court. Russell Westbrook is that guy. And I do think that even myself sometimes, I'm going to hate saying this with you on this show. With folks like him, with folks like LeBron James, I think because I am so accustomed to seeing these guys be phenomenal. I think sometimes I forget to be grateful with what I'm seeing in that moment. And Russ breaking that record, you know how hard it is. You know how hard it is to average triple, to put your mind in so many different places at one time when you're playing a game. There's so many people that only focus on scoring or only focus on the defensive end or only focus on getting their teammates involved. Russ literally is everywhere all the time. Just tell me, I gotta know this, because in my opinion, this is the case. But is Russ a top 10 ever point guard in your opinion?
Oh, all right. First of all, let me just say that I am so happy and proud. I didn't even do that on purpose. Let me just start off by saying it's an RW thing. Okay. As RWs, we know what we handle our business. Right. I always have liked Russell Westbrook, not just because we share initials, but also because I do like and respect the fact that he does bring the same level all the time. And I have to pause and apologize in advance because I have a smoke detector that's going off and I don't know which one it is. And I've been fighting, trying to figure it out. And it's been a struggle. I'm in war over here, okay? And I'm losing. But anyways, for Russ, I love the fact that he brings the same level all the time. That is something that, and you and I have talked about this, one of the greatest things about him is also one of the things that people can't stand about him, in that he's going to give you 110% all the time. Even sometimes when the game needs to be slowed down or when you maybe don't need to run the floor, he's going to bring you that though. But you know he's going to crash the boards. He's going to get assists. He's going to score. He's going to get to the basket. He's going to maybe take some questionable shots or take some questionable drives. But that's what makes him a record holder for the most triple doubles. And the fact that he continues to, regardless which team he's on, regardless who's on the floor around him, brings that same level. I always said from day one, I loved the move for him to go to the Wizards because they needed that. They needed that consistency, that leadership, that veteran, that experience that you can rely on. And yes, he's had injuries.
John Wall. That's not a shot to John.
It's not a shot to John Wall. John Wall's a tremendous player, but Russ brings something different. And as you talk about top 10 point guards, what makes him so great is because as a point guard, he's going to do it all. So if you're Bradley Beal, if your guys around him, okay, night in and night out, if he's on the floor, there's no sick days. There's no days off. He's going to bring you the same level. And it gives you that confidence that you can now do your thing. Now you're a Bradley Beal who's neck and neck with Steph Curry for the scoring record because you can take some of that pressure off. You don't have to be the only one. And I think that's the hardest thing as an athlete and for a team when you're not really sure which player you're going to get. You have a lot of guys that are injury bitten or they don't maybe play at the same level every time, or it depends on what arena they're in or what day of the week it is. With Russ, you always know what you're going to get. So now that allows your team to go as he goes because he's going to be the leader of the team, which is what the Wizards needed. So back to your original question, I think he has to be in the conversation because of the fact that he's also changing the position. You compare him to someone like Magic. I'm excited that he passed Big O. That's awesome news. It's exciting to see the different players that reached out. Jason Kidd was someone that was talking about him and reaching out and congratulating him. You look at the point guards over the years, they were getting assists. They may not have been a scorer, but they most likely were not a rebounder. Like a typical guard in the early days of what it was as a one, you run the offense. You're like the quarterback. You run the offense. You set the tempo. You get transition started. You're the one that's just kind of like sitting back and allowing your shooters, your big men to take care of business. But in this basketball, in the evolved 2021 basketball, what Russell brings is as a point guard, you can be the 1, 2, and the 3. You can crash the boards and then run the offense and then score. And maybe the next play you get the assist. So I think not only from a talent perspective, because I'd have to look at there's been a lot of really good guards that have come through over the years. You look at Jason Kidd, Stockton, Magic. I mean, Iverson, I don't know if you consider him a point guard, but you look at all the guards over the years, they bring something different. But what Russ brings is he's going to do it on both ends of the floor every game at a high level. And he's going to be able to bang on the board, get rebounds, get assists, get points. And that in itself absolutely puts him in the conversation, in my opinion.
No, I agree. And I definitely agree with you saying that he's changed the position. Russell Westbrook is averaging more rebounds than a lot of the centers in the league. That's not even literally their primary job. That is literally their primary job. Crash the board. I think he's averaging more than Embiid. I think he's averaging more than Jokic. He's averaging, and again, the game has changed, so those bigs are expected to do a lot more than just
not staying in the paint like they used to.
Exactly. So they're expected to do a bit more. So that's fine. But so right, so on point about him like changing the position. So if you had to, and this is kind of putting you on the spot, if you had to put him in the top 10, what number are you putting him in that top 10?
Are we talking all time? Like even back before referees wore stripes and all that?
Okay.
Like, nah. I mean, look, I'm not.
In the last 30 years, is he a top 10 point guard?
I know I'm going to forget somebody. So I'm not going to put who's above him or anything because Magic is definitely one. Magic is definitely one that's above him. I'm gonna put him at like 4.
Russell Westbrook, top 5.
Oh yeah.
Wow.
Oh yeah. 4. Oh yeah. He's. I don't see him any lower than 5. And it's the same. Not to bring up LeBron, but actually, I'm going to bring up LeBron. It's the same conversation I know that has been happening around LeBron and MJ comparisons because Russell is in a whole different category of his own. So, like talent-wise, he may not have been more talented as a be more talented as a basketball player than like a Magic, but he's a different type of player than a lot of point guards that we've seen. So I think for the fact that, and I know a lot of people hate on Russell Westbrook, and I am not one of them. I appreciate his greatness. I'm gonna put him like 4 or 5.
Okay.
Agree to disagree with me if you want people, but there is not a guard that I have seen in recent years that does it all like Russell Westbrook does.
No, I agree.
So he's lower than.
He's definitely top 10 in my opinion. Perhaps next week, Chanel and I will discuss the top 10 altogether. But I'd probably say Russ is he's probably around 7 or 8 for me. Top 10, easy top 10, easy first ballot Hall of Famer. It goes without question, in my opinion. It really does go without question. So yeah. I mean,
Magic, Oscar, Steph. Here's some Jason Kidd, Stockton, Steve Nash.
CP3.
I put him right in the mix with he's not a Steve Nash, but I put him above Jason Kidd.
I put
without a doubt.
I put him above
Jason Steph Kidd is above him, but I would say Magic, Steph, Oscar, Steve, Russ. I would put him above Isaiah Thomas. Oh,
that's it's some. That's why I said
maybe like number 6.
Right, that's what I'm saying. 6, 7. He's up there.
Yeah, 5 and 6, 5 and 6. Maybe not 4, 5, 5, 6.
Yeah, 5, 6. She gonna see another name and be like, "Oh, I might put him 7, 8."
Nah, we're gonna leave him at 5.5.
Right. Okay? So many great point guards in the last 30 years. That's why I'm like, he's. I mean, unfortunately, the asterisk will always be a championship. You know what I'm saying? With Russ. But like you said, there's nobody doing what Russ does, and I'm excited. I don't expect them to go. Oh God, I am praying that they somehow miraculously make it into the Eastern Conference Finals. But if I have to put my reality hat on for a minute, it likely will not happen. But I would love to see a Russell Westbrook and Kevin Durant Eastern Conference Finals.
I want to see that in general. I hope that series happens.
Yeah, I would just love that. But I am excited for the years to come. I'm really excited for what's to come next year. You got players that are injured. They'll have much more confidence. They know, they gel. Perhaps they'll have a different head coach that will bring out the best in them.
I don't know, actually. I think he might have earned himself a couple extra years.
Shout out to Scott Brooks. Nah. There's rumblings in DC that if there's not something solid from him, then he's probably not going to be head coach. And shout out to Scott Brooks though. Yeah, shout out to Scott Brooks for not calling that timeout last night against the Atlanta Hawks. But that's a different topic for another.
But it's gotta. That's a whole other conversation in itself. Because coaches have to consistently underachieve, and the moment they do a little bit better than the previous year, it's progress. But it's really not what they should be. Like the Wizards are obviously better than last year. That's a no-brainer. You have Russell Westbrook on the team, who's helping, and Bradley Beal's here all season. He's been healthy, knock on wood for the most part, minus his minor injuries here and there, like a hamstring. But it's still not enough, in my opinion, that he should stay another year. But because they're better than last year, he might have bought himself another year or 2.
Well, they're not better than last year because they're fighting for a playing spot.
True, but
I mean, thankfully they were able to play. But here's the deal: he's been saved by the talent of the team.
Right,
and
it's not him.
That's just not enough because he makes bonehead decisions like not calling a timeout on the final play of the game last night. And, for me, moral victories are very hard for me to digest when I'm going for a particular team because, they were missing Bradley Beal and, they fought to the end, but they were playing the Atlanta Hawks. We're not going to act like they were playing the Nets or playing the 76ers. Like, come on. Like, that was a winnable game.
Gotta win it.
Winnable games. You got to tough it out. You got to make better choices. But that's another conversation for another day because I could go all day about the mistakes and the issues with Mr. Scott Brooks and with the Wizards team in general. Russ could have called a timeout too. So I'm not dismissing Russ on that either. But yeah, so speaking of records.
Oh, yeah.
Speaking of just ballers. The NBA Hall of Fame is this week. This is shot 2, folks. It's not getting easier with time, but gotta talk about it. This class is loaded. You got Kobe, rest in peace to my guy. You got Tim Duncan, you got KG, this is a stacked class and well-deserving. I wanted to kind of just talk about, MJ, Michael Jordan, the greatest of all time. I know you want that to be LeBron really bad, sis, but wow. This is what I'm saying. This is what I'm talking about right here with you. This is the problem I have with you. Do you really say a word? You don't have to say anything. Your eyes say it all. Do you really believe? Wait a minute. Let me just let.
This ain't shot number 2.
This is shot 2, but this is gonna roll into shot 2. But Michael Jordan will be doing the introduction. Well, not the introduction, but we'll be presenting the Kobe Bryant Hall of Fame award. I feel like that it doesn't get any better than that. I feel like that's exactly how it should. If it wasn't him, I would have maybe Shaq. Maybe Shaq. But I'm happy that Michael is doing it. I will say that upon Kobe's passing, and just doesn't even sound right saying that. Still, it just does not sound right saying that out of my mouth. Upon Kobe's passing, and then his memorial the following month. I really didn't know how close him and MJ was. That was just something that I was not privy to. So I absolutely love it. Let me ask. This is actually perfect because I wanted to ask you this. In my book, Kobe Bryant is probably the second greatest player that ever has played in the league. He's behind MJ, in my opinion. Would you say that that's the same thing for you? And don't forget that you're on straight shooters. So shoot it from the hip, keep it 100.
I don't ever lie.
Would you say that
my list has always been the same?
That's what you think people want to hear.
I'm not saying what they want to hear because Kobe's not number 2. May he rest in peace.
Okay.
And I'm still, my argument is still now MJ. Drop my chapstick. I still don't have MJ as number 1. And when
you scream she screamed like she dropped her phone or something.
The sad part is it almost rolled off and I caught it, but it was a really fast thing that just happened. Shout out to my cocoa butter Vaseline chapstick. That's next level.
Oh, I have mango butter. Oh, well, this is lip gloss.
Yeah, this is the real stuff. Keep your lips moisturized. I don't just need the shine. I need the moisture.
Mango butter lip gloss hydrates dry skin, softens skin, contains multivitamins. Don't play.
Well, some of this is in Chinese, so I can't read that. But I think what it's saying is my chapstick is better than yours.
Wow. So, in my opinion, it's number 1 and number 2. MJ and Kobe. The rest is up for, battle at another.
This is your show, and I appreciate you sharing your opinion. Mine is different.
Oh, okay.
Look, they were actually talking about it on First Take, and I actually agreed for once with what they were saying, and the fact that people are finally understanding why I have LeBron at number 1. I think that if the Lakers are able to win again this year, if they win the championship, especially knocking off a healthy Brooklyn with that monstrous big 3 that they brought in of bringing everybody that hates LeBron on one team, that in itself is signed, sealed, delivered. Case closed. Because I just feel like LeBron has changed so much for the game of basketball. And also, I know we all use the argument of championships, yet we don't use the argument of championships with a Bill Russell. We use the argument of championship just for MJ over LeBron. We don't use it for anybody else. Kareem, Bill, we don't talk about championships with them. At the end of the day, though, I will never disrespect Michael Jordan's talent. I think he is absolutely one of the greatest athletes of all time. But what he did, needing a Scottie Pippen LeBron also needed help. I don't know why we used one argument for LeBron, but not for MJ. We say LeBron had to have Dwayne Wade around him. He had to have Kyrie around him. MJ didn't do it by himself either. He was on the best team. LeBron beat the best team in the Warriors, who were arguably one of the best teams of all time, them and the Bulls of the 90s. He beat one of the best teams of all time. He did not have as much help in Cleveland. Yes, he had Kyrie and Kevin Love in and out of injuries, that whatever. But the point is, he has been able to be the best in every position. We talk about Russell being able to do it all. So does LeBron, who at this age is able to still dominate the game the way he does on the boards, points, assists. It's nothing like we've ever seen. So is he the greatest basketball player of all time? I don't know. What's your definition of that? Him and Michael play different positions. They play different games. It's like comparing Shaq to Kobe. It's two different types of players. But what I will say is he, without a doubt, is my GOAT for the way he has brought something to the NBA that I've never seen before. Granted, I'm only 28, but when you compare him to anybody else that's played in the league, who's the next closest player that played like LeBron does? Magic. It's actually not even MJ. It's Magic. He's the next closest. There have been no players that are able to do what he does. It's the same conversation we have with Russell Westbrook. There have not been a lot of guards that have been able to do what Russell does on both ends of the floor. So for me, it's not just he's more talented than Michael thing, because I think they're both talented. If I could, they'd be tied. But I say he's the GOAT because there has never been another LeBron. Kobe emulated his game after MJ, and that's why you have him as number 2, because he's Michael Jr. He literally had everything about his game, his footwork, his moves, his everything is Michael Jordan, which is why he is one of the greatest. Not number 2, may he rest in peace. But that's why I say nobody has been able to copy LeBron. They try to build super teams to slow him down. People have tried. Everybody compared Zion and all these different people to LeBron. There has not been another LeBron. And until I see another one, which I don't know if that will happen, he is my GOAT because there is no carbon copy. You cannot try to be LeBron, period. So yes, he's still my number 1. I would put MJ as 1A. I'm sorry, 1B, I guess, technically. LeBron's 1A, MJ's is 1B. I don't really know after that because there's so many great players that we don't even give enough credit. Kareem, Magic, Bill, all these players that we don't give enough credit. Kobe is in the mix, but he's not top 2. Sorry.
Okay. So top 3 for me, and I'm going to go ahead and just give it to LeBron. That's fine. He's 3rd for me.
After Kobe.
There's a lot of things that, I mean, we're talking about emulating Mike, and there's a lot of things that LeBron has done, and there's some things that LeBron has not done that Michael has. One of the biggest things that really, really stick out to me with Michael, especially since watching The Last Dance, and whatever, I'm 32. So those Michael days, again, I for those that know, my basketball interest didn't really come around when Mike was playing, not in those years. I was all Kobe. I was a Kobe girl. You know what I'm saying? I was introduced to the game by Kobe Bryant in those early years. But one of the things that I think that people gloss over so much when you're talking about like greatest of all time, Mike was able to do it offensively and defensively. He's a 9-time NBA all-defensive first team. Like, LeBron's not doing that. You know what I'm saying? Like,
they didn't play the same teams LeBron's playing. The Bad Boy Pistons were great. Orlando was great with
we're not going to act and we're not going to act like that defense ain't different than the way that it used to be. You know what I'm saying? Back then, like those guys. Look, this is not to knock the current league, and I'm not saying that these guys are soft in this league. Hell no, that's the first thing for what I'm saying. But I ain't gonna act like that those players weren't built a little different back then. So for you to still, first of all, to be. He's not even near the size that LeBron is, okay? And for you to have defensive stuff under your notch, he even has a defensive player of the year under his notch, under his belt in MJ. Like, that speaks volumes. That's exactly, like you said, to kind of go back on what Russ does. He's doing stuff that is not really even supposed to be asked at his position. And I feel like that Mike in that defensive side, he was such an offensive. When you hear Mike, you think about offense, and people forget that defensive part. LeBron plays decent.
I don't forget the defense.
Yes, you did. I don't. time.
Michael Jordan was a great defender. He has some historic plays on the defensive end.
I think that's what separates him and LeBron.
LeBron is a great defender. Whoa. All right, we're not going to act like some of his biggest plays, like the Game 7 block, we're not going to act like some of his big. First of all, I feel a little sabotage like you brought me on here because you just wanted to bad talk LeBron as per usual, because this was not a rundown as we were talking Hall of Famers. But also, at the end of the day, what I feel is that LeBron has had to go up against, when you look at the Warriors in 2016, when you look at what the Nets are now, when you look at even Boston after their 2008 championship.
That was a great defense.
And Michael definitely went up against some good players. I'm never going to dismiss what Penny and Shaq had and what Hakeem Olajuwon and Houston and also just even those Boston teams and the Lakers. Obviously, basketball was just as strong then. Defense, the physicality, all that was there. I get it. But at the end of the day, I do also think what people forget is the fact that today's game has evolved because these players play so much. There's such a quick turnaround. So you can't, that's why Russell is a different beast. It's not really physically possible, especially if you're LeBron and you're in your 30s now, you're going into you're in your 18th season. You can't play at that same level all the time. It's not physically possible. And that we have a lot of great technology that helps them in their maintenance and recovery. But that is a difference. Look at what the offseason was like. Of course, they had the 92 Olympics and everything like that. They still played in the offseason. But I just feel like the game has evolved to be more physically demanding, which is why there is load management. And there is a change in how players take care of their bodies. And they have honestly learned from, you look at the way that players are beat up. Yes. In the 90s, for as much as everybody always wanted to say the game was better then, was it with players fighting all the time? I watch basketball. I don't need to see wrestling. Okay, when I'm watching, if I want to watch wrestling, I go to WWE. But I go to watch basketball. I don't want to see the best players getting knocked out and the cheap shots and all that. I don't want to see players get injured playing with all types of messed up this injury and that injury. So I'll take the softer game if it means that guys are able to actually play longer and not have to worry about their own physical health. So we're never going to agree. Okay. But I think that too, the original shots of number 2, because LeBron is my GOAT and not yours.
I am not here to sabotage you. This was.
You just froze, and I don't know if it's my computer or your computer, but it's a sign.
Are we still here? We're still recording. Yay!
I'm gonna say that your computer literally froze you because it did not want to hear what you had to say.
Oh, well, I was gonna say this. First of all, let me just say this. I didn't bring you on to sabotage you. That's the first thing. First things first, I did not bring you on to sabotage you, or to like come at you. But I mean, whatever. We talking greatest of all time.
You haven't had this conversation in a while.
You're lucky I'm even putting him in the conversation. I said we're talking the greatest of all time. You're lucky I'm even bringing LeBron up. But we are talking Hall of Fame.
Am I lucky?
Yeah. You
absolutely. Would be a fool not to include LeBron. People that don't include him in the top 5, you are easily a hater. That's like me not including Michael in top 5. Like, come on. You don't have to agree and love LeBron James, but you got to respect him. If you don't have him in the top 5, so
when I'm talking about the top 2 greatest players,
you are lucky to include him.
But no, for real. Like I said earlier, it could be just one of those things where I'm probably one of those people that's gonna appreciate Bron a little bit more once he's not playing, and that's unfortunate. But we do have the what's the word I'm looking for? We've been blessed to be able to see like what Michael was. We were able to see Kobe. We were able to see what LeBron is, and we were blessed to, you know what I'm saying, see these guys. And so in a sense, when I kind of see guys that have done things in the same realm as another player, but just did it before, it's kind of hard for me to, you know, it's the same thing with Tom Brady and Patrick Mahomes. It's the same thing. But really quick before we move on, because I do want to get into this. Chris Bosh feel like he's being snubbed with this Hall of Fame. Chris Bosh. Do you feel like that Chris Bosh should have been a nominee in this year's Hall of Fame?
I hate Chris Bosh.
Hate Chris Bosh.
Okay.
Why?
Respect his career. Of course, as a LeBron fan, there's where the hate comes in. Because in those Miami days, Chris Bosh, and I get it, he had a lot of health issues, which is what led to him eventually retiring. But I remember so many times screaming at my TV, ready to throw something because of Chris Bosh. So snubbed. Well, you know D Wade. So we were actually rooting for the same team at that time. I don't know. I think with the Hall of Fame, there's always someone that's on the outside looking in. It's the same thing with the All-Star team. There's only so many players that can be nominated for these opportunities. And for the NBA, they do a good job of including a lot of different people. It's not just players. You have like a WNBA player like Tamika Catchings. You have coaches. You have like it's a wide variety outside of just like the NBA. They do a good job of like also including all Hall of Famers for the Naismith Hall of Fame. So for this, you got to be the top of the top. I mean, and KG, Kobe, you look at the different people that are included, Tim Duncan that have been included, even over the years. I think maybe one day Chris Bosh is, you know, he'll be recognized in some way, but I don't know. It's a shame. Ugh. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I would probably think that it's going to be a few more years before they come in. Like it's not now. It's not now. But yeah. Speaking of Hall of Fame, we're moving on. Congratulations to all the finalists, the nominees, the finalists. I'm pretty sure I'm going to be pretty. I just hope that Michael like don't cry again. Like Jesus Christ.
Well, Kobe was like his little brother.
I know. I just need him to like keep it together. For me, keep it together, Mike, because you cry, I cry. Nothing make me cry more than seeing a grown man cry. Like the week that Kobe passed, like I was hurt really, but seeing all these other grown ass men cry, I'm like, oh no, I can't take it. Like I had to say it off. It's very, very.
We've seen Michael cry in plenty of memes, but it's a little different
in person. Yeah, we're not in person, like live. Yeah,
it's a little different.
It's a little different, but well, I was gonna say, speaking of Hall of Famers, no, I'm not even gonna go there. But shot 3, pow, 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 pew, pew, pew.
Again, I know you just did this for me, so thanks.
I think I might incorporate that in the show. Pew, pew, kind of thing. Pew, Bill versus Bazemore back into the nation's capital.
Pew, pew. They all gonna die.
That's you caught that. I'm sorry.
I did.
Yeah, Kevin Hart, hilarious. But back into the nation's capital. We're staying with the NBA folks. Thank y'all for rocking with us. Technical difficulties and all. Shout out to StreamYard for putting us back exactly where we stopped, though, because I was a little afraid there. I'm like, oh my!
I didn't press anything. I just figured I'll just sit here and wait.
Do everything. So, but Bill versus Bazemore. I'm pretty sure that most people in here know who Bradley Beal is.
Yeah, who's that Bazemore fella?
Plays for the Warriors. Kent, right? Kent. I don't know why.
I just
talk to me, sis. Well, for some context. Let me give folks some context because
give some context for Mr. Kent.
Right. So obviously, we don't obviously know. Bradley Beal, Stephen Curry in the race for the scoring title for the season. They're literally like neck and neck. I think Steph might end up taking it because Brad is out for 2 games. Yeah. These 2 games Brad been out is going to hurt him in that race. But He's out because he has an injured hamstring injury. He's out for 2 games. He's out for both Atlanta games. And Kent Bazemore, made a idiotic remark at the podium the other night in regards to Stephen Curry. I think he dropped 49 in 29 minutes. And his remark was, and I quote, 49 points in 20 minutes, man, that's crazy. You got folks tearing or got folks injuring hamstrings trying to keep up. Now that completely went over my head when I first saw it. First of all, I had no clue because first of all, it's Kent Bazemore. There's no way you're really coming as some type of like elevated superstar in any kind of capacity. So when he said it, I think the first thing I commented on social media was, Is that a bad thing? Like I thought he was talking about like the players on his team trying to keep up. Maybe they're injuring themselves. They're trying to like help stuff out. Oh, it completely went over my head. And then it hit me. I'm like, hold up. Oh, he's talking about this scoring title thing with Bradley Beal. Yeah, whatever. Sometimes it happens, sis. And so, it was just a trash comment. And it was a trash comment coming from somebody that nobody knows. You have to really be into basketball to even know who he is. But I thought it was trash. That's one thing that I feel like media and players, we try to elevate above, is talking about families, kids, injuries. Like you don't touch that stuff because it can happen to anybody. And it's just not something to make fun of, to make light of. A hamstring injury is no joke. It could linger longer than what the Wizards even expect and can cost them what we're trying to ultimately do, which is to get in the play-ins and get a playoff spot. So it wasn't cool. What's your thought on Beal versus Bazemore? Oh, wait a minute. Before you even say that, Beal did clap back.
He did.
Back. I wasn't a fan of this. He clapped back on social media and then jumped on First Take, ESPN's First Take.
He did.
He clapped back there. I wasn't a fan of him getting on screen to clap back. I felt like he was milking it a little bit, doing it on camera. But, I mean, am I being...
Also, his girl said some things.
This straight shooter. So, I'm about to really get into this. Go ahead. Well,
first of all,
How do you feel? Like...
So, when I first heard the comment, I thought he was talking about defenders. It went over my head at first, too. Okay. I thought he meant, like, defenders are trying to slow you down much. Like, kind of like when people say breaking ankles. And I'm like, that's a weird analogy. Like, most people say you're breaking ankles out here, not pulling hamstrings. I'm like, okay. So I was thinking he meant defenders. And then when it really hit me, I was like, oh, Kent Bazemore getting a little too cocky here because I would like to say this is a young mistake, but it's not. This is not a rookie. He's not some like kid. He's been in the league far too long and has not been as relevant. This is probably the most relevant, no knock on him, that he's really been in his career, but you don't do that. First of all, I pulled my hamstring. I know we're on straight shooters. It feels like you get shot in the leg. It's like pop, pop, pop. It's just this awful feeling as you're running of your leg just spazzing out like someone just shot you with like a BB gun in the leg or something. So it's not an injury to take.
She's a three-time officer.
Yeah, yes. So I've had a couple hamstrings.
Talk your stuff.
I can say straight up when I was, it definitely feels like you just get shot in the leg. Yeah. So that's not something it's not like it's a rolled ankle or something. It's a serious injury. And Bradley Beal was saying and I did like this response he had, because he was saying this on First Take, that he actually is not focused on the scoring record. He said, I didn't come into the season with that as my focus, and I'm not going to change it now. Their focus is the playoffs. Their focus is getting farther than they did last year. Their focus is on having a run. So it's not about, for him, the individual accolades. Of course, he's thrilled that he's even in the conversation, excited for Russell for his accomplishment, but it's about the team as a whole. So I thought that part of it was a good response. I definitely agree with you in that Kent Bazemore, you just don't do that. Like Bradley Beal, in my opinion, is a player that, having dealt with so much, being on, and even just with the Wizards in general, with how he's been staying so true to the team. Like he hasn't bailed, despite all the trade rumors, despite everybody trying to trade for him. He has stayed with the Wizards his entire career, and he continues to help this team and pull them out of what's nothing to be a team that's now in the conversation. So to sit and kick him while he's literally down injured, especially just from one man to another, it's a low blow because he's done way more than you have ever done, Kent Bazemore. So you got to give him his respect. I don't care if you're on the Warriors, who aren't much better. Let's not act like you're on the top team in the league. You're also right in that same conversation of a struggling team. Don't sit up and try to feel high and mighty by putting down someone else. This is a Steph, Bradley Beal scoring record conversation, not an average Joe Schmo conversation. So to be honest, you're not really included. What you should have just said is stick to Steph. It's exciting to see. Maybe you say it's exciting to see him and players like Bradley Beal going neck and neck, but you don't ever compliment one player by putting down another. That just is unnecessary drama. It's childish. It's belittling, and it just didn't make sense. It was so random too. Like what? Nobody asked him.
Nobody even asked.
Nobody asked him. Like where does that come from? What made you decide to throw Bradley Beal under the bus?
Probably to get in the spotlight. Probably
literally
he's irrelevant. Probably because
that's what I'm thinking.
So you say
me desperate. I want to be relevant vibes. Like it's giving me reality TV vibes.
Reality.
See what I did there?
Like that. You make me want to go right into it, but I'm not gonna go right into it. But no, seriously, it wasn't cool. Like you said, he's irrelevant. I think he probably said that just to be relevant. Yeah, so that's Bill.
I do want to add, I unfortunately feel like there are certain players, Russell and Bradley Beal are two of them, that of course they never get the respect, but I feel like they're kind of the guinea pigs where people feel like they can trash talk them and like nobody would have ever said, and I'm gonna put actually like a Kyrie in that category. There are certain players that others just don't like. No one would have ever been like, oh, well, James Harden is hurt trying to keep up with Steph. You wouldn't have done that. You know, you just wouldn't have done that. But because it's Bradley Beal and he still doesn't have the respect he deserves, people feel like he's not your equal, Kent Bazemore.
Yeah, I don't. Yeah, like you said, and like Brad alluded to, I'm not going out there I'm going out there to win.
Yeah.
I'm not going out there to deliberately try to score all the points so I can be like, and as one basketball player to another, he ought to know that.
Because Steph's not doing that either.
Exactly.
That's nobody's sitting up saying, "Look at mine, so I can break a record."
Yeah,
nobody does that.
Yeah. And so Bradley Beal, popped back, said what he said. Then Kent Bazemore actually came back and was like, "Oh, it was all fun and games. It was a mindless comment." Yeah, that's somebody admitting that you sounded ridiculous. It was stupid, and you know what I'm saying. Like the clapback. Obviously Bradley Beal's wife got involved. I'm a little impartial to the wives getting involved. You and I have had off the screen conversations. I just wish, this is gonna sound bad, follow Savannah's lead.
Yeah.
In my opinion, follow Savannah's lead. Savannah James, the wife of LeBron James, for those that don't know, is a model example of minding her I'm not even gonna say staying on the lane because her husband is her lane. I completely get that, but just kind of like just minding her business. She mind her business. It's a lot. Yes, a lot of these wives. Bradley Beal's wife, Gabby did it when Gabby did it when Dwayne was playing. Aisha was doing it a few years back. She has definitely brought it down some notches. Certainly, she is certainly not as vocal as she used to be. And I'm not saying that they can't defend their man. It's just super weird.
There's a way to do it.
There's a way to do it. I just don't feel like you should open up yourself to. That's his fight. And Brad is more than capable of handling it on his own. But when you start talking trash about the other player as a wife, then you open yourself up to allow that person to talk trash about you. That's just in general. Like, I'm from DC, male, female, whatever it is, you popping trash let's pop trash back. You know what I'm saying? Like, it is what it is. So whatever. I'm kind of impartial to that, but yeah. So hopefully it's over. Hopefully it's a wrap. Hopefully we don't hear nothing else about it, because the Wizards got some games to win. Bradley Beal need to get that hammy in check. And yeah, we need to, get it in. Shot 4. We moving on. I need to know, while we are here, while we are talking Stephen Curry. While we are talking Stephen Curry, I need to know real quick. We're not even going to stay on this shot long. Who are your top 3 MVP picks for the NBA? And then I'm going to give you mine. And y'all not going to like mine. Straight up. I'm just going to say it. You're not going to like mine. It is what it is.
I'm going to go with...
Is this up from strongest candidate to weakest? I just want to make sure that this in order. Strongest candidate to weakest.
I'm going to go LeBron, AD, and LeBron. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Okay, this is a tough one, actually, all jokes aside, because there's a lot of people that I can include in this. But I want to go with like Chris Paul.
Is this the strongest to the least?
I don't know. Okay. I'm not going to put I don't have an order. Okay. I don't. You didn't ask me that part. And I need a second to think about that one. But my 3 were, I actually want to go with Bradley Beal / Russell Westbrook. Like, one of them is in the conversation. A Chris Paul, a Steph Curry.
That's 3. Where you going, sis? Where you going? Like, you see how she tried to get it? She tried to go ahead. Tell her that's not what we do here on Straight Shooters. You getting carried away.
I was just ready. Okay.
So now that you know that you can't go 5 like you were about to try to do, sis, let's get your real top 3.
I don't know. I hate the MVP award. It's so hard.
This year is really hard.
It's really hard because
you know what I love about it, and this is just going to be a testament to the future. You know why it's so hard? Because LeBron James is not in the conversation, and that's just that's for real. That's not a shot. That's not. That's not
because here's the issue that I have. You have a combination
of other people. It's not just LeBron.
It's not always just LeBron. LeBron hasn't won MVP in years. It's been Giannis. It's been James. It's been Russ. It's been KD. It hasn't been LeBron in a while. He doesn't win MVP even though he deserves it.
No. So, I'm not talking about the winners. I'm talking about the conversation. Why it's switching from
he ain't always been okay. I see what you're trying to say. I get what you're saying.
Yeah, because he's not in the conversation, now it opens up us looking and paying attention to so many other players. That is why it is so difficult. If LeBron James had played all these games this year, without a doubt, it would have been the Lakers aren't as good as if they wouldn't have been as good if it wasn't for LeBron. Oh, there's no way the Lakers would be in this position if it wasn't for LeBron. We literally wouldn't be looking at anybody else because that's just people's eyes are just always going to be fixated on LeBron. It's his league. Fine, I admit that.
Cool. Finally. Well, as long as Giannis doesn't win it again. But the hard part is you have a combination of things because you have teams like the Suns, the Wizards, even the Warriors who are literally being carried by players, which is why I could say they're an MVP. And to me, it's not about where your team is ranked. I don't care where you are in the standings. If you're a team like the Wizards and you have Russell and Bradley Beal that are scoring the way they're scoring, dropping 40 plus points, getting triple doubles, Steph with the numbers he's putting up, even not even playing a lot of minutes, I have you in the conversation. I think Steph is playing some of his best basketball. Nobody would have expected that when Klay Thompson went down. No one was expecting him to be playing so well. So that's hard. But then you have players like the Joker and Luka Doncic. Everybody always puts Giannis in the conversation, rightfully so. You can also argue. Who's that?
Joel Embiid,
another one. But
it's so crazy. Like, shout out to them because they are really balling this year. Like, these are like balling, like make you be like, damn, how can you not talk them? So you're saying that your 3 is,
I don't know. I was gonna keep going.
I'm gonna give my 3, and maybe it'll give you a good.
Nah, because now it's gonna affect no. But go ahead, do your thing.
Steph, I'm in order. CP3, Steph. This is right here, right now. Damn.
Not so. Yeah, it's not easy.
I can't do right here, right now.
As of this specific second, I don't know.
It's a season thing. Well, players are putting in late bids. It is what it is. Players are putting right now for me, and I know y'all gonna hate me. No, it's not Jokic. I'm not putting Giannis in the top.
You're gonna put Joel Embiid.
I'm definitely not putting Joel Embiid. It's going CP3, Steph, Russell Westbrook.
So literally the same as me.
Russell Westbrook. Yeah. The moment who says Steph have slash Bill, I wouldn't put Bill there. The moment Russell Westbrook got healthy, the Wizards started on the right path. They've had 2 previous 5-game winning streaks before this winning streak that just happened back when they were straight back in May. The moment Russell Westbrook got better, they took off. You just cannot not talk about that. I feel like I have an echo. Is there an echo?
I don't hear one.
Okay. Hopefully y'all don't hear an echo. I hear an echo. Let me see something real quick. Hold on.
Well, while you're figuring out your echo, I will say the hard part for me is because the regular season MVP, you're looking at over the course of the season, all their stats, where they've been. But to me, it's not just who has the most, who scored the most, or who averaged the most. It's impact.
Yes.
If you take that player off their team, what is their team doing? Which is why I always argued Giannis was not the MVP in the past. Because I think the Bucks would have been with the Bucks. Yeah, I said it. Because I don't think he had the biggest impact. I think that there have been players, and you look at this season alone, what Steph is doing with Kent Bazemore around him, what Westbrook and Bradley Beal, you know what I mean? That's why I put them as a slash, because they kind of could both be. But Westbrook, without a doubt, what he's been doing, he literally turned the entire franchise around. Granted, they were number 9 last year and were in the bubble. Yes, but we all know good and well that this Wizards team is way more talented than they were last year. Same thing with Chris Paul. Look at what Chris Paul did with the Suns in the bubble, and then this season. Their impact, that's to me an MVP. That's the most valuable player. You might not have all the best stats out of every player in the league. You may not have scored the most, but you need to have the biggest impact. So it's hard, but
and that's what irritates me about the definition of it, because like you said, it's not just about stats and numbers. For me, that first year that Giannis won it, he absolutely should have won it, because we are not discussing the Milwaukee Bucks jersey sales in records in anything without Giannis Antetokounmpo. You're just not having that conversation. So his first MVP, yes, he got it last year, right, from the bubble. Did he get it? Well, that was bubble year, right? That's an asterisk.
The same thing with James Harden. James Harden always gets MVP. Every time he got MVP, in my opinion, was because he scored so much. James Harden doesn't play defense. James Harden, he's not some. I can't stand watching him play.
But it's like it's almost like a damn if you do, damn if you don't, because again, had he not balled out the way he balled out, I'm talking about James Harden in his scoring, there are times when the Rockets just wouldn't have found themselves in a position that they were in come playoff time. I'm talking about at certain seedings and getting through certain rounds. So
absolutely,
it's like damn you do. I've been adamant. I said this when they traded for Chris Paul, when the Thunder traded him, that I knew that I know they were going to be sitting in the top seed in the West. Hell no, I didn't expect the Suns, but I knew that they were going to be a top 4 seed. And that is because I understand the impact that Chris Paul has. I think I was at your house last summer when they took that game, when we watched the game. That was before the Lakers game. That Thunder game was on that day that I was at your house, and you could just see the impact. There's no way that OKC should have even been sniffing the playoffs last year without Russell Westbrook. They did it because of Chris Paul. I knew that the Suns were going to be great with Devin Booker, with DeAndre Ayton. I knew that they were going to be good. As I mentioned, y'all already just heard my spiel about Russ. And the same thing go with Steph. I mean, like you said, we were of the notion that the reason why Steph was as bomb as he was is because of his partner in Steph and Klay Thompson. Correct. Oh, you got to keep your eyes on both of them. You can't leave one of them open because either one could get cooking at either time. And so naturally, because that's how basketball is. I mean, just what we know, we expect. Yeah, that we do expect it to be that way. If Klay is not on the court with him all year, we're gonna see his play go down. He's not gonna score as much because everybody can just key in and focus in on Steph. He has completely shut us all up. That he is the clear definition of redefining the game. And we are not talking Warriors, just like we're not talking. We wouldn't have been talking Bucks a couple seasons ago. We're just not talking about the Warriors if Steph didn't. But he is literally the only. I mean, obviously, he's not the only person that scores points, but he is literally their driving force. Literally their driving force. With Russ, he got Bill. With Giannis, he got so many other pieces around him. With CP3, come on, he got Devin Booker, for Christ's sake. So, but Steph, for Steph to be doing what he is doing without Klay Thompson, for them to even still be, they were fifth, they were last in the conference last year.
Literally.
Last. They didn't even get a trip to the bubble. They were last in the conference last year. And for him to have come back really off of injury himself, because he came back last year, but he had like a hand injury. Balling out the way he is and keeping the Warriors in the conversation, you got to put him there. So those are my three.
Yeah, and I agree. And Chris Paul and Russell Westbrook, to me, are the same boat. You look at, they both move into a new team. They both come right in. They're later on in their career. And Steph is too. He's getting up there now. Not as old as them, though. But that, to me, is that you're an MVP for that reason. Yeah. Like, those three are MVP candidates. They are driving these teams.
To you, really quick before we move on, why is it not somebody like Nikola Jokic? Why is it not somebody like Joel Embiid? Because Joel Embiid, let's be very clear, Joel Embiid was in the conversation at the beginning of the year. Without a doubt, he was certainly my MVP for a very long time. But then you had these individuals, the three that we just named, casting like last minute like opinions in folks' minds, like, yo, like, look what they are doing. There's no way. So why is it not? Is it because of what those guys are doing? But without Jamal Murray, why is Nikola Jokic not in your top three?
So the tough part is, and this is what I think often it gets tough with like figuring out MVPs, is there's that fine line. We're talking about the NBA. There's a lot of talent. Damian Lillard, of course, Kevin Durant, how he came back. Right. Like, there's a lot of talent, but the difference between a talented player like a Joel Embiid, the Joker, Donovan Mitchell, the difference between those players and MVP is you've got to be, like, I think, spectacular, where it's like you're doing something that is just out of this world, where it's that's like you are uncomparable or incomparable to what others are doing. So and in my opinion, I think it's having that consistency. When you look at what those three are doing, Steph, Westbrook, and CP3, I feel like they're bringing the same level every night they step on the floor. Whether it's 20 minutes or they're playing the entire game, they are literally putting the team on their back. And I think that when you compare it, like you bring up Giannis, that's a really good example of the first year he won MVP. It was like he was Milwaukee.
Yes.
Right now, Chris Paul is Phoenix. He's literally leading this team. You come into the team for the first year, there's always, same thing with Westbrook, but there's always questions of how they're going to gel and what's their chemistry going to be like. They literally hit the ground running. Like what we saw from him in the bubble with the Thunder to what we're seeing with him now is like the same. He didn't skip a beat. So I think that's the difference for me. I agree. Joel Embiid and the Sixers are having an incredible year. The Joker, once Jamal Murray went down, and that was awful to see. Once he went down, it was kind of like, what's going to happen with Denver? He's still keeping them afloat, but it's not that like jaw-dropping, did that really just happen, spectacular type of play every night. I think in my opinion, that's the difference.
I'm just playing devil's advocate a bit because I have a hard time because, like I said, it's just honestly these three that we are so fixated on really kind of, again, within like the last month or two, Jokic, Embiid, Giannis, those guys have been relatively very consistent throughout the season. So even sometimes I find myself like, I like to argue with myself. I'm not crazy, but shut up, y'all. But in my mind, like just going back and forth in my mind, I'm like, okay, I can make an argument for these three, but how can I leave Jokic out of that conversation? Like
MVP.
But like you said, like you have to really watch basketball to like understand, not say there are plenty of basketball players and fans and watchers that believe that Jokic is the MVP, that probably are more knowledgeable than
he definitely is a favorite.
He's definitely a favorite. But if y'all know what if y'all know what we're talking about, it's that I
got one better.
What is it? Don't you do it.
It's the same reason that LeBron is my GOAT.
We're gonna work on up, guys. We're not even gonna do the
rest of the listen.
What do you mean by that though?
Because the Joker is a favorite for the MVP. Luka Doncic, Joel Embiid, they're actually heavily in the conversation, without a doubt, because of the numbers they're putting up, because of the stats. I, as a former athlete, as a lover of sports, I don't just look at the numbers. I get it. That's a big part of it. Of course, especially if you have zeros. That is a huge part of it. Your scoring percentage, your efficiency. I don't look at like ratings and efficiency ratings and all that stuff, but what is your shot selection looking like? What is your passing like? How many rebounds are your minutes? I care about that stuff. But to me, a player is much more than that. If you're able to help your team, and that's why I think CP3 has something that's just like so next level. He is literally an on-court coach. Regardless if he's scoring, getting stats, whatever, he is literally leading Phoenix. Russell Westbrook, same thing. The guys all around him always talk about how he leads by example, the way he trains, the way he practices, his workouts that he does on his own. It sets the tone. It sets the example. I don't hear a lot of Sixers players saying Joel Embiid is leading by example or setting the tone for anything. And that's why I always argue LeBron over MJ, to be honest, because I'm looking at more than the numbers. It's easy to get caught up in rings and scoring percentage and how many points you're averaging and everything else. But what about the player that more than that is literally driving everybody around him to be better? Okay. And that's what I think ironically, you're siding with me for this, but I know it's not going to change your thoughts from the GOAT conversation, but it's the same thing in my opinion. These are three players that are single-handedly, the concept of putting your team on your back is those three.
Yeah.
Granted, the others are doing they're having an incredible season, doing a tremendous job. The numbers are great, but I still think it's bigger than that. I don't hear anybody saying, because of the Joker, I now work out more.
Right. And that's what I was about to say. And that's another thing, like these other guys, before we move on, got to put on my producer hat here. They're killing me.
Because we're getting a little long.
My producers are killing me in my ear, man. They're going to kill me. I'm joking.
I heard it too.
Really quick, those three players that we mentioned, maybe Steph, are making players around them better. And that's a big deal. Like
get yours and help them.
Because of Russ's ethic, his work ethic, he's making those players better. Because of Chris Paul's leadership and what he brings, he's making those players better. Yes, Devin Booker was amazing, but I guarantee you before this, but I guarantee you after this season, he's going to say, I've learned so much. I'm a much better player. I'm a much better man. I'm a much better individual because of Chris Paul.
Which is why LeBron is to go.
Yeah, so we'll have this conversation again next week.
Yeah.
Of course, until, I had to get my girls' input. We'll have this conversation again next week about MVP. Because that's just what we're going to talk about until they pick somebody. But next topic, WNBA year 25 begins this Saturday. I'm excited. Really quick, let's run through these because we got like 2 more shots. Let's run through these shots really quick. Putting on my producer.
Never good with shots.
Yeah, we got a couple shots. You said double shot?
I said I was never good with shots.
Oh yeah. Well, we got 3 more.
Bump.
Tequila or dark? What's your? You had to take if you had to.
No, I really can't take shots anymore. But back in the day, I would take shots of anything, which is why I can't take shots anymore.
Her heyday. Shot like tequila shots?
Yeah.
Yeah, me too. Actually, I don't want to talk about
That's why, yeah.
But WNBA, what are your expectations? My expectation is for year 25 is I think this is going to be the biggest year yet. I think that it's going to be more coverage, more storylines. Like my co-host Chanel was saying last week, we're seeing it on Twitter and debates and conversations. And it's just, I expect this to be the biggest year yet. I expect it to really finally break that barrier of like a mainstream like sport. What are your expectations?
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think that the momentum that the WNBA picked up last year in the Wubble has like tripled or quadrupled or whatever term you want to pick. You look at the partnerships, like the partnership they just announced, that multi-year deal with Google, the jerseys they just released, and we're like selling out in like within minutes. Pure incredible. I mean, fire jerseys. You look at the fact that people are actually paying attention and having more conversations around the WNBA. Bless you, I think.
Thank you.
Having more conversations around the WNBA, getting in the debates. The Dream just announced they have their all black female 4 analysts that are going to be covering the Atlanta Dream. So they're not only making more noise and getting more people to follow them, but they're also leading the charge on a lot of change. And I think that's why people are taking notice, because they're giving opportunities, they're empowering, they're reaching more people. Their television schedule came out, and the amount of games that are being broadcasted live, easily accessible, is a complete change from what it was in the past. So now you have people able to actively watch, able to keep up, able to follow their teams. You know, it's just now a matter of continuing to move in the right direction. But I do think that the buzz they've been creating around year 25 and the way they've been rolling out this like whole PR plan and everything, it's beautifully done. Yeah. And I've had a couple conversations. I just interviewed Atlanta Dream's Jalen Agnew, who's actually out with a torn ACL. And we were literally talking about the same thing, in that this is kind of like the year. You know, I feel like they've been turning a corner. Well, the corner has been turned. Last year especially was like the start in the right direction, and it all tips off this Friday. The league is starting, and it's going to be exciting without a doubt. So I'm looking forward to it.
I'm excited. And, you know, straight shots, we keep it 100 on here. I myself am one of those individuals that has not watched the WNBA the way I should. And because it's not as mainstream, it's not as easily accessible, you know what I'm saying, like it is now. But you better believe your bottom dollar, I intend to tune in to every game that I can. I expect the Mystics to run it back. We'll see.
I do think it's something we all could be better at. Like, I grew up going to WNBA games. I used to go to the Liberty games and watch the Mystics, and I was a fan of Shamika Holdsclaw and, you know, Teresa Witherspoon, and I grew up having WNBA jerseys and everything. But, you know, I do think sometimes I know myself, and like I'm guilty of this, you just get caught up. But we have to make time to invest in female sports, empower, tell these stories, cover them just the same way we talk about the NBA and the NFL and everything else, because that's what's going to help push the envelope. Exactly. So I think year 25 is the year.
Perfect segue. I'm excited for year 25. Perfect segue. You mentioned NFL.
I got you.
NFL. We got to talk Tebow time. Really? Did you see how I did that? Was that good?
That was a lot. Tebow time.
Tebow time. Yo, is it Tebow time? It is. It's Tebow time in Jacksonville. The Jacksonville Jaguars. I don't know if it's already inked. But the Jacksonville Jaguars are going to reportedly sign Tim Tebow as a tight end for that squad. The man ain't played in 8 seasons, I believe, something to that extent.
3,000 and now 54 days. Who's counting now?
Nobody's counting. He'll be alongside Trevor Lawrence, the number 1 draft pick to the Jags. So are you excited about Tebow time? Is that a good move for Jacksonville? Is this a good move for football? 30
Here's
seconds.
my thoughts. Oh, it didn't play as loud.
Oh, wait. What you want to say?
Let me try one more time. Let me run it back.
Oh my God, look at she. I love her, y'all. She is hilarious. Who's you about to play? Wait.
Up. Time's up. If you look at my time is up.
You don't like Tebow Time.
That was not nearly as executed as well as it should have been, because that does not play that quiet when I set it as my alarm.
Get up in the morning. It's real loud.
Let me not play that in the morning, and that would have been blaring. But the point is, I think it's a publicity stunt, but it actually just infuriates me, to be honest, because you mean to tell me there are no tight ends, none in their prime better than a 30-plus-year-old, what is it, 32, 33, 33-year-old Tim Tebow that was a quarterback changing positions that haven't played in the NFL in over 3,000 days, has been playing baseball. It's just Tim Tebow could just do whatever he wants, apparently. So I have a lot of issues with this. This is privilege.
Yeah, very privileged.
I hate to say that. This is privilege because I don't see nobody giving Colin Kaepernick the opportunity.
There's literally no
or anybody else
explanation. You telling me they ain't even nobody on somebody's practice squad from another team?
I can play tight end better than Tim Tebow.
Tim Tebow time? I think I'm doing that all season.
That's my issue. There are so many players in their prime, tight ends that have been training as tight ends their entire career, playing at this level, whether in college or in the pros. You mean to tell me there's not one player, not a one, near one, that should be able to play for the Jags?
Yeah.
I don't care if you get, here's the thing that people keep saying, oh, he's not going to make it anyways. It's just a publicity move. Yeah, but how about you give somebody else that
publicity? Like, who needs the publicity? Not the Jags.
And why is that the publicity move? Is he Oprah? Is he J. Cole? Playing in Africa? Like, what made him the publicity guy?
Right. And for the Jags, you just got the number 1 draft pick in Trevor Lawrence. That's all the publicity you're going to need. He's going to fall out. So I don't know. It wouldn't be a publicity stunt for Tim Tebow because the Jags had to sign the man. So that would mean that they're in some type, whatever. It's Tebow time. Hey, I might be rolling with y'all. I'm like, this is
Urban Meyer clearly, obviously has a history. He's coached him.
Definitely.
Right. I get it. He's coached him. What I don't understand is, again, you are a newer coach coming into a program trying to turn things around. You get Trevor Lawrence, which should be a step in the right direction, and then we fly back 10 steps and decide that we're going to not only bring it, I'd be cool if they brought in Tebow as a mentor, as a coach, whatever. Absolutely. He's inspirational. You bring him as a locker room guy.
He's on the field.
But you change his position to tight end and give him an opportunity that somebody else actually deserves. He hasn't played since 2012. It is 2021. That's not 10 years. Come on, man.
Listen.
We're talking Tim Tebow at tight end.
I love it. Tebow time? Tebow time is up. Tebow time is up here on Straight Shooters. That was shot 6. Listen, I have to talk about this because this is the second week in a row. And y'all know, I like to flip-flop between sports and entertainment.
Oh, yeah.
So, y'all know, I'm everywhere all the time. Listen, this is a bonus shot. I call this the bonus shot. Real Housewives of Atlanta drama, and then we are out of here. But it's no way I couldn't talk about this. It is entertainment. It's semi-meets sports a little bit because the Real Housewife that I'm talking about is Portia Williams, who's the ex-wife of Cordell Stewart, ex-NFL player. I believe Cordell played for the Falcons.
Yeah.
100% sure. Could be off. Check me. That's cool.
I don't remember, to be honest.
Context real quick, because I'm not sure if you even watched the show, sis, but I gotta talk about this real quick. Portia's a Real Housewife. She's on the show. This past season, she brought a friend onto the show by the name of Fallon. Fallon introduced Fallon to the group of ladies, and there was some pool party at Fallon's house. And Portia brought herself and two or three of the other girls. Pool party. Fallon introduces the girls to her husband, older guy. Their house is lit, laced house. I mean, they are balling. I don't know what the hell Simon does, but Simon got the bag. Okay. Introduce her to her man. Reports come, I wake up to it. Apparently this was out last night. I wake up, or it was out Tuesday. I wake up to the shenanigans. I wake up to Portia Williams now being engaged to the man that she was introduced to by her friend, her man's ex-husband. I mean, her friend's ex-husband. My apologies. That was bad. Her friend's ex-husband. Apparently, they finalized their divorce last month. Apparently, Portia and Simon have been dating for a month, and apparently, Simon proposed to her on Mother's Day. I had to talk about this because I am an avid watcher of Real Housewives of Atlanta, and for a couple of seasons, I didn't see it for Portia. I actually did not care for Portia like that for a lot of seasons. Fortunately for her and my great viewership, is I was actually starting to like Portia last season and this season. I was like, oh my gosh, she's so funny. I'm actually like starting to warm up to Portia. And damn it, I'll wake up to this. And real quick, because this is girl talk in all actuality, but it's so crazy because you have guys wanting to know, people waking up, and Portia is trending. And so you have guys like, who the hell is Portia? Like, shout out to Mark Gunnels. Mark was like, well, who's Portia? I keep saying her name. Shout out to Monica McNutt. I think her guy or her husband or boyfriend, whoever he is, like text her and was like, who's Portia? Like, guys are wanting to know about this reality drama because it's been so crazy all day. Did Portia break the girl code? Now, Portia said that her and Fallon were not friends, although on the show she was introduced as a friend. And sometimes they just want to have somebody on the show, so they have to be like entwined with somebody. They got to attach them to somebody, and they might not necessarily be friends. Apparently, her baby daddy, Portia's baby daddy, and Simon were business partners, and that's how Portia met the friend Fallon. Did Portia break girl code? Did Portia break girl code? I think Portia broke girl code. Let me tell you why. Because she was just crying over her baby daddy 8 months ago. Not even that long ago. 6 months ago, she was just crying over her child's father, Dennis. And now all of a sudden you're engaged to this new man. And I believe that if the shoe was on the other foot and this was Fallon and Dennis engaged, Portia would have more of a problem. Do you think she broke girl code, or because he's divorced, it's fair game?
I have so many issues. I don't watch the show anymore.
That's why I gave you time.
But I actually did hear this when I was like driving this morning, and I was like, but I didn't know all the details. And actually, as you told me we were going to talk through this, I was like doing some more digging. I didn't see Portia's post. This long Instagram post. Did you see the post?
Who?
The post adds dirt. Okay, this could be a whole hour plus show in itself. Okay, this is what Portia posted, and I don't believe this is the actual post because this is not. I don't know why she would share this. So, can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah, I'm just saying, can you retweet it as well?
Oh, I don't know if I want to share this one.
Okay, no.
It's like, nah. She says it starts off with our relationship began a month ago.
No, that's real. It's okay. It's real. I know exactly.
Okay.
That is real.
This post.
Read it. Go for it.
Insanity. I'm not reading the whole thing because it's kind of long.
But give it a little bit. Give us a little bit.
Saying how their relationship began a month ago. They're crazy in love. Yes, it's fast, but they're crazy in love. For all of you that need facts, you know it's a problem when you have to explain yourself on your own Instagram post.
Exactly.
For all of you that need facts, this part I have to quote word for word. I get the optics, but Simon filed for divorce from a previous, I wish I could talk like Portia, from a previous marriage in January. I had nothing to do with their divorce filing. That's between the two of them. Phelan and I are not, actually goes on to explain.
Yeah.
Actually goes on to explain that Phelan and I are not friends. Simon's divorce has been settled. And then also Simon and Dennis are committed to being respectful and supportive of my happiness in this situation. Are you kidding me, Portia? I never liked the fact that she was so immature, but this is like the lowest of immature. If you're going to date your friend's ex, you need to date your friend's ex. You're marrying him after a month. He just got divorced from Phelan in January. It's May, by the way, guys. You do the math. She was just with her man, Dennis. I didn't even know they were broken up, to be honest. That's how far I am. I had no idea. Last I saw, she had a baby with Dennis. Now she's got a whole other man she's married. But my issue with it is Nobody knew they were dating. So it comes out that you're dating when you're engaged after a month. Who is falling in love in a month? Nobody in real life.
Money. She fell in love with the bag.
I'm glad you said that. I'm glad you said that, because at the end of the day, we are fighting over this man, and beauty is truly in the eye of the beholder. But we ain't fighting over Michael B. Jordan or someone. We're fighting over, what is his name? Simon, I'm sorry. Lord, I forgot. I looked at his picture. Simon, about 50, 60 years old.
Oh, yeah.
Not good looking. Portia is gorgeous. Phelan is pretty. Yes. We are fighting over Simon.
But they're not fighting over, because I think Phelan is over it. I'm just saying in general, like, so you think that she's just, it was wrong. She's messy.
You mean tell me there's nobody else she could have dated?
Yeah.
Besides Simon, who looks like he has dentures in.
Yeah.
I mean, I just don't understand.
The bag. I think she's in love with the bag.
That's the only thing that you can.
That's the only thing that you can fall in love with is the money. She fell in love with the bag. Portia just admitted.
She's one of those types of women, I feel like, that likes to be taken care of. So financially.
I know what you mean. I don't know that.
I don't know at all. I don't watch the show, but the vibe
I do. And I don't know. It's just really weird. And there's more details coming out. Like, apparently Simon was dealing with we're gonna wrap up. Apparently Simon was dealing with some other girl just a month ago. There's a possibility there's some tea that Portia might be pregnant, and that's why this is happening so fast. But if you're pregnant, then that means you were dealing with him a bit sooner than just a month ago.
Because
Phelan posted that he was finalizing his divorce, which means he is not fully divorced and you're engaged to a married man. It's a whole lot, but I'm sure more details is gonna come out as the week go on.
Look, I actually think that love does happen in weird ways. And I can see if you truly are in love, like, let's say I've never dated a friend of a friend, or an ex of a friend, I should say. But if they dated years ago and you meet at a different time and the healing has happened and you guys date and you really hit it off for a long time, that's one thing. But you can't tell me they just filed for divorce in January. And as you said, it's not even final yet. And you fell in love in a month. That to me is really shady. And they're claiming there was nothing that happened before, blah, 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 blah. It's shady and I don't like it. So everybody's responses that I've been seeing are spot on, because you just come out of nowhere. Suddenly, we're engaged. People are like, you were dating? He's divorced? He's not with Fallon? What's like, there's so many questions here. It's shady. It's very shady.
It's shady. And there was no way that I couldn't talk about this. Y'all know how I get. I've been on it all day.
I'm a little mad you saved it to the end. We should have opened with this one.
I know.
This is some serious tea.
I know it's really good, but we are wrapping up. Oh my gosh, this is such a great show. Listen. I already knew when I had to get somebody to fill in for my phenomenal co-host, Miss Chanel. I had somebody fill in. I'm like, let me reach out to Miss Washington. Let me see what her schedule is like. I'm just super grateful that you were able to fill in for us. We want to keep this consistent. We really don't want to keep missing any weeks. But life happens. Things happen. There's going to be some times when y'all may not see me on the show, and Chanel may have a fill-in as well. But thank you so much for tuning in, everybody. Thank you for joining me, Renee. I know you're my sister. Please tell everybody where they can find you. Plug yourself.
Yes. You can find me on social media at Renee P. Wash on Twitter, at Renee P. Washington on Facebook, Instagram. Everything I have is Renee P. Washington. It's keeping it super straight, super simple. But yes, it's been a pleasure joining you. These are some great topics to get into. We could have definitely talked for like a few more hours, especially with all this tea and debating and stuff. But I really appreciate what you and Chanel are doing with Straight Shooters and this show that you've been able to launch. It's a great idea, and thank you again. It's been fun.
Thank you. And this is something that her and I wanted to do, where we can come on here and, not be messy, but just be real and not really getting no, straight and shoot from the hip, not getting no type of backfire in a sense. You guys know where you can follow me on social media, Ashley Baker _21 at Twitter. On Twitter, I do not have all of my names synced like Renee P. Washington does. Ashley N1221 on Instagram. Make sure that you guys subscribe to the Straight Shooters YouTube channel. We are also on Spotify, Google, and Apple. Spotify, and Apple as well. And make sure that you follow Chanel as well at the Coco Chanel. I think on Twitter it's actually at Coco Chanel. So yes, thank you guys again for tuning in. Same time, same place next week. Thank you again for tuning in to Straight Shooters. We are out. Thanks again, Renee.